All life is related by common descent, where the twigs are existing species and those produced in the past represent the succession of the extinct. The tree's great branches were once budding twigs, a connection between the past, present, and future, a representation of all extinct and living species with its ever-branching and beautiful ramifications. We are an evolution of those that came before. Let's see. It's a place well hidden. It's just below the above. Just listen. You might hear something important. Not just from me.
Yeah, move for Bumu.
Out-of-Date's impressed you made it this far, but there's still so much left to do. The end of the world is still on everyone's minds.
Yuba Duluwawa.
You've beaten a path where you have the power to destroy or save everyone. Question is, what you'll do with that responsibility.
Auketo Tul Atu Yamangau.
He can sense that your heart beats steadily and acknowledges that the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others.
Tolidrea Ya Maulua.
Thinks it's important that you remember who you are and where you came from. Someone without knowledge of their history and origin is like a tree without roots.
Kantita Dwella Bufo Atu Wamawa.
It's important to stay grounded. You share the same fate as the tree.
Mayami. Kantita Dwella Bufo.
Out-of-Date says there's a time for everything. And now there's no use thinking of the past, for it's gone.
Mauketo Tolu Ayadre.
Think of the present, because that's where you are. It's time to set your priorities as the one who completes things.
Nuekek Ujbar no barke.
If you continue to do good, good will follow you.
Mau Mauya. Evunkutu Buvum.
If the world really does end, there won't be anywhere to run. So he's prepared for the worst. Something he calls the Ark.
Lotu Lupayo. Yatu Yao Mawa.
He hopes you're right. He gets that you mean the journey continues either way, but personally he wants the tree to survive.
Bubuko von Yunvun.
Out-of-Date says there's no clear record of the chain of events that changed the course of history and brought the world to its knees.
Yatu Yao Mawa. Ya Moluwando.
He's found evidence on the Ark, records of a crisis, decades of contamination that permeated the ground and broke its inner core.
Fare come mako to fare di taba.
The contamination disrupted what we now know as key energy, the life force that runs through all things, living and inanimate.
Loma toaha kotobuata.
He's been told the blight affected everything at a genetic level and turned our perception of normality on its head.
Fabube mok kofar. Tikama perna.
It was only those that changed that avoided extinction, proving that the possibility for survival and renewal was real.
Ewe bobuye. Ya, savoita mua.
He understands you're curious about the ship at the foot of the tree. He says it surfaced when the oil broke through the ground.
Ya, savoita mua.
The Ark predates the back-in days, and now, after years of study of the manuals he found inside, he believes he's figured the ship out.
Koibe o korfabe.
The Ark has room for 4 more, and he trusts you'll apply wisdom to your compassion and choose whom to save if the world comes to end.
Adu awa ya ia koyevun. Tuvun bunun.
He'll keep the seats open, and you are free to invite up to 4 others to join you in the Ark in the event of a cataclysm.
Valu alu hero.
Out of Date says the time has come for you to reconcile with your past.
Valu vutulua.
Lupa-Lupin is still staying in the camp where he was brought up. He hopes you'll find the answers you are looking for there.
Mopu far kobi.
Even though darkness is a part of your nature, he suggests you try to keep your cool, as the best fighter is never angry.
Balu vutulua. Mopu far kobi.
He'll point you in the right direction, but the rest is up to you. This part of the journey is one you'll have to do on your own. Lupa-Lupin's camp has always been there, hidden deep inside the mountains.
Valu alu hero. Loma utulu ba yowo.
Out of Date hopes you'll find your way and the answers you were looking for once you're there.
Ya, savoita mua.
He knows he said it before, but the time has come to put an end to the Lupin's reign of terror.
Farfarifyo. Tuka kubu. Boyobu. Kwai gatawa.
You should get over there, come face to face with destiny. It's going to be you against the Lupin. No rules.
Ya yumawa.
He wonders what's on your mind.
Kaboba farhi.
Didn't have much else to say, so no problem. Watch for trouble. Could come from any corner. Lupa-Lupin's camp has always been there, hidden deep inside the mountains. Tread carefully here. This is Lupa-Lupin's camp. Lupa-Lupin says he's been looking at you. He wanted you to come here and see for yourself where it all started. He was so little when your mother and kin came here to put an end to his mother just because she was different, a hunter. That night, the hunter became the hunted, trapped with nowhere to run. He says your mother showed no mercy, only vengeance. He can see that you're not like your mother. There's something different about you. Maybe you would have made a better decision than she did, and let them be. They orphaned him, left him alone, an outcast and a freak. Lupa-Lupin says he's been reliving the moment every night since then. He says your mother and her disciples started something that couldn't be undone. They created the monster he would become. He knew his time would come, and he was patient. So, when he got news about your birth, he knew how to get revenge that would last. That's why he spared you that night he raised the village when you were a child. He wanted you to suffer for life, like he had. He marked you for life, so he'd recognize you when you met again, and you'd eventually remember where you came from. His hunger grew insatiable over the years to come. He tried, but being vegetarian wasn't in his nature, and he couldn't go hungry. But he's never taken a life for the sake of appetite. It's always been about survival, and that our true self is being who we are. A deep look into nature will make you understand everything better, and that natural selection eliminates, and the strongest survive. Fate is for those too weak to determine their own destiny, and now the time has come for you to accept yours.
Gabamuk, Gabamuk tabu, Denuku Nunyofubu.
Out of Date says there'll be consequences of the war, but there are more pressing matters at hand.
Ikobe, Ifari Kobo Farm.
The last World Eater has been left undisturbed with the tree while you focused on the war.
Lotulu Bayo.
Satuatan Popkila.
He thought someone with your light perspective and key would have had different priorities and faced the World Eaters before resolving the tribe war.
Ugambun ang Ugagad Yebromo, Bufuka, Nuka, Nuburak.
Regardless, Out of Date is grateful the tribe war is over.
Bilia and Tuf Oloi Bobo Paweg.
Out of Date says the signs of the end of the world are everywhere. It seems nature is preparing to take revenge.
Oloi Bobo Paweg.
The day of reckoning is coming, and you are invited. He can feel you're approaching the end date.
Fabobe, Muk Kofar.
If you haven't decided whom of all like-minded, light-hearted beings you've met have earned a seat on the Ark yet, it's time to do that now.
Tulua ba Volua, Papamofobak.
Then grasp your last chance to make sure Lupa-Lupin stopped for good. The tree settled its score, but it left yours half done.
Papamofobak.
He's happy to help.
Tolomawanya.
Says the Tree of Life connects all creation.
Beboko Kontabe.
Will be around when you return.
Mpa, wherefore, where?
He guesses you're back for more.
Mpa, wherefore, where?
Says you'll meet again. The Sifu is seeking revenge too. He hasn't forgotten what Lupa-Lupin did, but he also wants to stop him from attacking his tribe. That the world seems to survive doesn't mean he must. He hopes you agree, even if it goes against your light-hearted nature. There's no room for predators in the world the Myriad tribe is building. But he knows this is your fight. You should handle it. Lupa-Lupin's own fear was his shackles, not the roots of the tree. It just changed him. You have a chance to stand back and let the tribe handle it. The Sifu is ready to step into the fray. Are the odds about to change in your favor? If a friend dies, something inside you dies. You can save the seafood by making yourself a target. You're a target. Shockwaves spread when the world crumbles. This is not a prophecy, me telling you about the future. It's you shaping it. Here's a vulgar display of power. The more he does, the stronger he becomes. It's time you remember who the real enemy is and stop playing the game in his way. predator and the world itself suffering. But at least it's a sign they're both still alive.
So, what we have here is a clear matter of life and death, and only you can make a difference.
You continue to make bad decisions and mistakes. Oh, it never ends.
It's easy to make a good decision when there's only one option. The only mistake here is you.
My mistake is letting you speak. My conviction is that the world would be a better place without your voice.
Convincing yourself doesn't win the argument. In the end, we won't remember the words of our enemies, but the silences of our friends.
The weak can't forgive. Forgiveness is a strength. It's not all life and death. It's no better time than now to accept a helping hand. Do you wonder what turn life might have taken if you'd done things different? A left when you went right? A yes when you said no? You've walked the thin line between survival and disaster and haven't lost your balance yet. It's because of you the Tree of Life and the world has been given a second chance. You carried the light in a world full of dark and made a difference in a place that needed change. You allied with the Myriad tribe and acted on understanding of the greater good and a code of honor. However, light and dark does simply represent the polarities of life. One can't exist without the other. This isn't the end. Just being surrounded by nature as it heals itself will rejuvenate us. Nature will teach us how to survive. So, trust your conscience to show you the way, and everything else will follow. But you're not alone. The few that shared your perspective and gained your trust will accompany you on your journey. Is there a world out there that's better suited for those imbalanced in their light nature than this one? Whether or not, we'll leave your story on record, so those who come after will know you followed your light nature and saved the world. So, when all is said and done, it turned out to be an unusual ending after all. What could be better than ending the story the right way? Ending it your way. A beginning of something new.